On the morning of July 16th, we left Zagreb for Opatija, Croatia, on the Adriatic coast. 2.5 hours out of Zagreb, we stopped at Plitvice Lakes, a 114 square mile national park that has, at its heart, 16 turquoise lakes, linked by a series of waterfalls and cascades. The lake system is divided into the upper and lower lakes sections, with about 440 feet of elevation between them. We took about a 90-minute hike along the wooden footbridges of the more scenic upper section of the park. The photos here don't come close in showing just how beautiful this place is. After leaving the lakes and stopping for lunch, we completed our drive to the Adriatic coastal city of Opatija, arriving there shortly before dinner time. Frankly, there wasn't much to see here other than the various hotels along the shore, but it provided a good launching point for our trip to the Istrian Peninsula the following day. On July 17th, we took a day trip through the fields and vineyards of the very scenic Istrian Peninsula, where some of the towns date back to tribal settlements almost 3,000 years ago. Parts of this area are rich in truffles, and during the fall and winter there are said to be 12,000 dogs sniffing around in the forests for this expensive delicacy. Motovun, overlooking the lush Mirna Valley, is one of 136 medieval towns dotting the Istrian Peninsula, with walls dating back to the 14th century. It is the birthplace of race car driver Mario Andretti and his twin brother Aldo in 1940. At lunch, Willie was visited by his mom, his sister-in-law, and her children, who live about 40 minutes away from where we were. Since they appeared with several large bags, some of the ladies in our group jokingly suggested that Willie's mom had brought his laundry. But in fact, she had brought us all gifts of homemade cookies and fruit preserves. They were all very, very good, and it was a sweet gesture on her part. After lunch, we visited the only family-run brandy distillery on the peninsula, in the town of Buzet. This was far more interesting than the wineries I have visited on this and other trips, and I actually developed a taste for the stuff, learning that the best way to drink it is not to sip it, but to drink it all in one big gulp. It burns, but it burns good. On July 18th, we crossed the border into Slovenia on our way to Ljubljana, spending much of the morning at the incredibly beautiful Postojna Cave. This cave is a 12-mile-long labyrinth that is considered to be one of the finest karst limestone formations in the world. Although it has been several years since I visited Carlsbad Caverns in the States, I think this place was even more spectacular than that one. After taking a fast train ride into the very damp and cool cave, we wandered through a diverse collection of tunnels, sculpted galleries, chambers, and still-growing stalactites and stalagmites. I got separated from our group at one point and quite fortuitously ended up with a private guide for the majority of my time there. As was the case at the Plitvice Lakes, the photos here do not do justice to the actual beauty of the cave.
mir, capriciu catelic si.